Hi, I would like to heartily welcome you to our Vivasan official YouTube channel. Today I would like to talk about Vivasan products, and in particular about the so-called bioavailability. If you look at what is said on the internet about Vivasan products, you will see that if something negative is written or told on YouTube channels about them, then as a rule, people go like, yes, the products are excellent, very effective, but expensive. And today, I would like to explain to you in just a few minutes that Vivasan products are not expensive at all, and also tell you what is behind these products and what our philosophy is. It is often quite difficult to explain this to customers, but for those who are interested in Vivasan and our products, I think this video will be interesting. So, we're talking about bioavailability. For starters, I would like to talk about what determines the quality of a particular Vivasan product. First of all, it is raw materials, the quality of raw materials. Most will say, well, yes, this is completely normal. However, in fact, everything is not so simple. Take, for example, aromatic oil. We have a wide range of aromatic oils. Among them, there is in particular eucalyptus oil. When you distill eucalyptus oil for the first time, it still contains quite a lot of those active substances that counteract the beneficial substances having a positive effect on us. They cannot be called harmful, but they have an unpleasant smell and cause negative feelings. This means that aromatic oils, it doesn't matter whether it's eucalyptus oil, lavender or any other oil, must be distilled not once but several times for the oil to contain exactly those active substances that are beneficial to health. In any natural oil, there are also those active substances that are not particularly useful for our health. They cause nausea, they have an unpleasant or irritating smell. Different aromatic oils contain various substances that do not benefit us. Accordingly, in order to get the pure oil that we need, we have to distill it repeatedly. And it is quite logical that the more distillation cycles, the more expensive the oil becomes. This causes a difference in the price of aromatic oils. Or let us take the Harpaga phythum, also known as the devil's claw, a perfect example. This is a South African plant, which as we know contains a large amount of active substances that can fight internal inflammation as well as other substances useful for our body. We extract the active substances from the devil's claw with alcohol. And the first extracted mass that we receive is still quite heavily contaminated. That is, useful active substances cannot show all their power because there are still a lot of active substances that resist these useful substances and do not allow them to have their positive effect. Accordingly, we have to purify these extracts. And for this, purification technologies are used, which are as complex as extraction technologies. This is done until a highly effective active substance is obtained from the devil's claw. You know that on the market you can find different extracts of the devil's claw, from cheap to very expensive. And if it's written on the product that contains the devil's claw, then it's not always the devil's claw, at least of the quality that is required to achieve the desired effect. The second factor influencing the price is, of course, quantity. How much of the active substance is used in creams and food additives? That is a very important point. Where is this product manufactured? We produce in Switzerland, as you all know. And why do we produce in Switzerland? After all, it's one of the most expensive countries to locate production, at least in Europe. There is a reason for that. As you understand, our most important goal is to achieve high bioavailability of our products. I'll explain to you later what that means. And it is possible to achieve this high bioavailability only with the help of high-quality technological processes and carefully thought-out recipes. I will then explain this in detail. This requires good technologies, competent specialists in food production technologies, highly qualified product developers, good laboratory assistants, and specialists of this level in food additives and cosmetics can be found only in Switzerland. That's why we produce in Switzerland. Another factor that really affects the price is the so-called production strategy, that is how we produce, or production technology. What standards do we use in production? We work according to the GMP standards. GMP is good manufacturing practice. It is important only for the production of meds for the pharmaceutical industry. This is a special production standard that was developed for the pharmaceutical industry. We passed this certification on our own initiative and voluntarily received this certificate. Why are we doing this? Because we always want to guarantee the highest possible quality for the customer. This applies to all stages, from the supply of raw materials to the finished product. All of them are GMP certified, and of course, this also increases bioavailability. The next factor affecting the price is the product design. It also affects the prices of our products, and all this together leads to increased bioavailability. And what exactly is bioavailability? This is an important parameter in pharmaceuticals, in the field in which it began to be used. After all, when a person takes a medicine inside, it should work. Its active substances should get into the blood, and from the blood into the organs. That is where they should be. Accordingly, it is necessary to determine what percentage of the substance taken gets into the blood. This is very important, because it is the blood that carries the active substances. There is a possibility of intravenous infusion. Then we are talking about 100% bioavailability. This, of course, can only be done by doctors. And there are oral medications, and those that can also penetrate through the skin or through the respiratory tract. Then we're also talking about bioavailability, which in these cases is already becoming interesting for Vivasan. After all, our products should have an effect. Accordingly, we need to talk about how to take our dietary supplements, how aromatherapy works using our oils, how creams work, how it is possible to increase bioavailability so that the active substances get into the blood and have the effect that people expect from them. After all, that's why they buy our product. There is no point in buying a product whose bioavailability is 0%. After all, it doesn't work, which means that this product is not needed. I would like to explain to you by example how this can be imagined. Let's say autumn has come, and you go to the pharmacy to prepare for the season of colds and possible infections. You want to buy vitamin C because you think it will help strengthen your body defenses. And so you come to the pharmacy to buy a drug with vitamin C. You are standing in front of a showcase and you see several different preparations with vitamin C in the form of soluble effervescent pills, and each of such drugs promises you that one effervescent pill a day covers 100% of the daily need for vitamin C. And what will you buy? Of course, you will buy the cheapest product. They all have the same effect anyway. And what is really going on? You take an effervescent pill, dissolve it in water and drink it. And immediately the body receives a large amount of vitamin C. It is a shock. The body is not used to this. This means that most of the vitamin C will be excreted by the body through the liver and kidneys because it is afraid of poisoning. And this is completely normal. Accordingly, you need not one tablet of vitamin C per day, but perhaps 3 or 4. It's for this reason that we are talking about bioavailability. The body assimilates minerals, vitamins, or other substances of plant origin only in small quantities, because it protects itself from poisoning. What it assimilates almost 100% is oils, fats, or simple carbohydrates. Therefore, many people have problems with weight loss or with the figure. After all, their bioavailability is very high. Why? Because they give the body energy and it always strives to store energy. We know that. So, if we have understood in general terms what bioavailability is, then we will go further and talk about Vivasan products. We have products of different categories in our company. Let's talk about their bioavailability and how Vivasan provides it. Let's start with aromatherapy. The basis of what I am going to tell you now was the dissertation of Mrs. Collard from the city of Würzburg, written in 2001. The topic of her PhD thesis was the bioavailability of aromatic oils and how they affect our body. For several years, the researchers invited different volunteers and conducted various aromatherapy procedures with them. They took aroma baths, used aromatic oils in the sauna, and through diffusers, took them inside, rubbed them into the skin, made wraps. Those who are engaged in aromatherapy are familiar with the different ways of using aromatic oils. The subjects underwent various procedures using aromatic oils, and the researchers took their blood every hour after the procedure and looked at how much of the active substances contained in aromatic oils had passed into the blood plasma. These observations were made every hour, and then a statistical analysis was carried out, and I would like to present its result to you now. The arrow on the left indicates the amount of active substances that could be detected in the blood. At the bottom is the time axis. A blood sample was taken every hour and analyzed, and these are curves representing one of the participants in the experiment. And as you can see, bioavailability turned out to be different for different people. It is not the same for everyone. Older people have higher bioavailability since their liver and kidney are no longer working as well as in young people. So, bioavailability in different people turned out to be different. The results are presented here in the form of these curves, and we see a sharp increase in aromatic oils. This means that their bioavailability is very high. Aromatherapists and everyone involved in aromatherapy know this. And it doesn't matter whether you take aromatic oil inside or do inhalation or rub it in your skin. Bioavailability is always about the same. The trajectory of the curve is always the same, which is very interesting. Aromatic oils have a very interesting effect on our body. And what does it tell us? It's important. First, aromatherapy works, it's logical, but what is very important, when using both cheap and very expensive aromatic oil, as you can see, these curves are always the same. What does that mean? That I can also buy cheap aromatic oil. After all, why would I buy expensive one if its bioavailability is not higher? Attention! Cheap aromatic oils contain a lot of cineols, a lot of irritating substances. Perhaps you have already had such an experience when you saved on buying aromatic oil and added cheap oil to the diffuser, after which you suddenly felt nausea, you started coughing from irritation, and this is completely normal. These are the same irritating substances that are naturally contained in aromatic oils, and in cheap aromatic oils they were not extracted during distillation. Expensive aromatic oils simply don't have them, and this is very important. Here we can make a comparison with wine. It can be cheap and expensive, and the next day you feel the difference between cheap and expensive wine. The same is true with aromatic oils. These are natural substances, and the more expensive they are, the more thoroughly they have been processed, and the more useful they are for our body, since they contain only useful active substances, the ingestion of which is desirable for us. Aromatherapy is an activity for responsible people, so don't experiment. Study aromatherapy, and please don't experiment. It's very important, because if you take too much thyme oil inside, for example, it will lead to problems. If, for example, a child chokes and thyme oil gets into the lungs, then this will be a serious problem, because it's a very strong oil. So aromatherapy is for responsible people. What is also important, and what I do not cease to be surprised at, is that in recent months and years some strange companies have appeared that go like, we are the best, we have the best aromatic oils, we use the results of gas chromatography. Just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. We at Vivasan have been using them for more than 20 years. We are GMP certified, and this means that the raw materials that are purchased for production, for further processing, must pass the entrance control. Moreover, local government agencies should be able to double-check this control. I mean, I can't just smell it and say it's okay. I have to document that this product purchased by me, for example oil, has exactly this particular quantity. And for this, you can use only the data of gas chromatography analysis, and every oil that we have been purchasing and using for the production of cosmetics, food additives, or as aromatherapy oils for more than 25 years has this certificate. Therefore, it surprises me when some firms cite this fact as a proof of quality. Yes, this is a certificate of quality, but this is a completely normal procedure for all companies certified according to the GMP standard. Now let's talk about dietary supplements. What about their bioavailability? It's very important. After all, when customers buy your products, for example Ginkolin 40 containing ginkgo biloba, they want to use this product to stimulate their cerebral circulation, to prevent Alzheimer's disease, to get rid of problems with concentration. We know that ginkgo biloba, just as an example, stimulates cerebral circulation. Accordingly, if they buy this product, then they also need bioavailability. After all, there is no point in buying pills or capsules, the active substance of which will not enter the bloodstream. If we're talking about dietary supplements, there are two important factors here. The first is what the client can influence, and it can also affect bioavailability. The second one is something that we can have an impact on in the process of production. Let's first talk about what the client can do. We know that dietary supplements should be taken with meals, because in this way we increase bioavailability. But it doesn't matter what kind of food we take them with. Here I have drawn three curves for you. The black curve is a fast absorption. This happens when you take dietary supplements in combination with oils or fat-containing foods. This is not new scientific data, because every mother knows that when a baby is 5 to 8 months old, he should already start getting, for example, freshly squeezed carrot juice. Why? Because it contains a lot of vitamin A. This is very useful for children. But what is important, the body hardly simulates vitamin A. So what does the mom do? She adds 4 to 6 drops of olive oil to the freshly squeezed carrot juice, and this increases the bioavailability of vitamin A for the child. The same applies to our dietary supplements. The red curve is the intake of dietary supplements without additional fats, without parallel meals, and the blue curve reflects the reduced absorption. It is observed when we take dietary supplements with legumes or whole grain products. Then, ladies and gentlemen, absorption is decreasing. Thus, the client himself is able to influence how effective the intake of dietary supplements will be for him. The next thing I would like to talk about is, of course, how our dietary supplements are produced. There are three important points here that you need to know. The bioavailability of liquid food additives increases if we use less preservatives. This is a general rule. The less preservatives a product contains, the higher its bioavailability. The second is the formulation and production technology. Take, for example, curcumin capsules or balls. This is a product from our product line. It is available in the form of small balls. Curcumin is a product with extremely low bioavailability. Turmeric powder can be bought for mere pennies. The only problem is that it won't do you any good. You can eat a kilo without the slightest benefit. The thing is that its bioavailability is 2 to 3, maximum 5%. That is, very little turmeric is absorbed because the body uses its protective barrier. But bioavailability can be improved by using a different technological process, namely not to produce powder, but to enclose this turmeric extract in so-called microcapsules. As you understand, these are our curcumin capsules, very small microcapsules. You can also further increase bioavailability by adding oleuropein and piperine. Piperine is nothing but an extract of pepper, similarly enclosed in microcapsules, with these simple technological techniques that I'm telling you about. Bioavailability can be increased from 5 to 65%. Thus, the turmeric-containing products that we sell have a completely different effectiveness. Many people know that turmeric is very important for our body. Another possibility is the so-called matrix technology. Do you remember the example with vitamin C, with effervescent vitamin tablets? A lot of vitamin C is released in our body at once, but it assimilates only 20, maximum 30%. 70% are immediately eliminated because the body is afraid of poisoning. However, this can be influenced by making vitamin capsules or pills or combined vitamin and mineral complexes, such as our product All Day Fit, using matrix technology. This is a special production method thanks to which the tablet slowly dissolves in the stomach and in the small intestine. Only small amounts of vitamins and minerals are released every 30 to 50 minutes. Thus, the body does not experience shock and assimilates 80 to 85% of these substances. Here you could ask the question, why these explanations? Why does it take me so much to explain all this to you? Because it has an impact on the price. I would like to explain this with an example. I took All Day Fit, our matrix pills, and compared them with a competing product. These are soluble capsules which contain the so-called vitamin and mineral powder. So when a person takes these capsules, they dissolve and all the minerals and vitamins immediately end up in the stomach. And we know, and we have proved it, that when using our matrix technology, bioavailability is about 85%, while in a competing product, it is hardly more than 20 to 25%, I assume 35%. Let's analyze these two products. On the left is the Vivasan product, on the right is the product of competitors. The Vivasan product contains 13 vitamins, competitors' product has 12. We have 9 minerals, our competitors have 6. That is, the difference is insignificant. But look at the prices. The Vivasan product costs 39.5 francs. The product of a rival company costs 17.4 francs. That is, the competing product is more than twice cheaper than the Vivasan product. It's a disaster. It's a shock. Of course, people will buy the product of competitors and not the Vivasan product because it is much cheaper. There can be such a big difference caused by just these few vitamins. In fact, it is caused by bioavailability, because if we conduct an honest analysis, we will see that one Vivasan tablet is required per day, getting us 424 milligrams. Taking a competitor's product, which also has 1 capsule per day on the label, we get only 140 milligrams. That is, 3 capsules are actually needed. And if you calculate the cost of a monthly course, then with daily intake, the Vivasan product will cost you 12 francs per month, while the competitor's product will cost 15.9 francs. So you see how important bioavailability is. A product that costs twice as much as a competitor's product on a monthly basis suddenly turns out to be cheaper. Let's go further and talk about creams and lotions. These are the most complex products in our range. Aromatherapy. Everything is clear here. The cleaner the oils, the better. There are various technological processes for food additives. They need production lines and competent, qualified personnel to achieve high bioavailability. But with creams and lotions, the situation is really complicated. At first glance, it's easy to combine the oily fraction with water, but in fact, this is a complex process that requires emulsifiers, and they reduce bioavailability. It is necessary to maintain the shelf life. Creams should be suitable for use for 36 months plus 12 months after opening. We need preservatives. In addition, the skin greatly reduces bioavailability. After all, it doesn't let all substances pass through, and this is good because in this way the skin protects us from external influences. Let's imagine what would happen if our skin allowed high bioavailability. Then all harmful substances from the outside would pass through it. That is, the skin protects us from aggressive environmental influences. So how do we manage to produce really high-quality creams and lotions that perform their function and really have the effect that we write about on the label and that we are promising people? Take, for example, our functional creams. They have a very high content of pure aromatic oils: thyme, juniper, calendula oil, you know, all our oils. The higher the proportion of aromatic oils in our cream, the better this cream is, because they have high bioavailability. At the same time, aromatic oils also have antiviral and antibacterial effects, and this means that we can reduce the amount of preservatives, since aromatic oils take over their function. That is why our functional creams contain so many aromatic oils, which of course is a problem. After all, oils do not bind with water, and any cream contains about 60 to 70% water. And with the help of the cream components, it is necessary to achieve a consistency suitable for its application. You need to mix them somehow, you need to achieve emulsification, and for this, emulsifiers are needed. However, they also reduce bioavailability. As you can see, the task is difficult, and that's why we work with microemulsions, with lamellar technology. These are special technologies that are only available to some technologists in Switzerland. These are the most modern technologies. It is not enough to simply purchase raw materials or buy a production line. We also need technology specialists and product developers who know exactly at what point in time what active substance should be added, what pressure should be in the boiler, what temperature regime must be maintained in order to use lamellar, not drip technology. What is the difference? Cheap creams have a so-called drip form. The bioavailability of our creams is higher due to the fact that they have a lamellar shape, very similar to the structure of our skin. As you can see, the further it gets, the more difficult. And in conclusion, one more example to make it really clear. Vitamin A, or retinol, as it is also called, is the component of the cream that is on everyone's lips, because it is known as a wrinkle killer. The more vitamin A in creams, the better for the skin, as wrinkles are reduced. Vitamin A helps our skin. Panthenol and vitamin E also help it. How do our vitamin A creams work? After all, vitamin A is unstable, ladies and gentlemen. Being added to the cream, vitamin A retains its stability for only a few months. And the more often you open the cream, the more oxygen gets into it and the more vitamin A decomposes. And after a few months, vitamin A will simply not remain in the cream. Cheap creams with vitamin A do not contain it already at the moment when you take this cream from the shelf in the store. Vitamin A was added during production, but it is unstable in the composition of the cream. It decomposes, breaks down into different components, and there are no aromatic oils in the composition either. We know that the more preservatives we add, the lower the bioavailability. So, what substances can both increase bioavailability and act as preservatives? These are vitamins: vitamin E, vitamin A, panthenol, vitamin D. All these substances increase bioavailability, primarily vitamin E, because it is an antioxidant, but they also increase the shelf life of the cream, because they are preservatives. Vitamin E is a strong preservative, but of course it is more expensive. In particular, it is more expensive than parabens. Cheap creams do not contain vitamin E as an active ingredient or preservative. They contain parabens and other alcohol-containing preservatives. But back to vitamin A. What distinguishes, for example, our vitamin A products from competitors' products? We work with protein balls, the so-called thalaspheres. This is the latest technology, microbeads, which contain vitamin A. The technology is very expensive and complex. Once in the cream, these microbeads are homogenized, and homogenization should occur so that they do not collapse. And only when the cream is used and these microspheres pass through the skin and get into the lower layers, they dissolve and vitamin E is released, exactly where it is needed. And in this way, the shelf life of 36 months and more is achieved for creams. And the client who buys the cream from us knows that after 36 months, vitamin A will still be there, since it is contained and preserved by microbeads. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, of course it's difficult to explain to the client what bioavailability is. However, those who are interested in Vivasan and its products and who are wondering what is the difference between expensive and cheap creams will find the answer here. That is the difference. It's not that we just want to make more money. It's about different technologies, the quality and quantity of raw materials used. Stay healthy. I wish you great success. Thanks.